Salary cap information for the upcoming season will be as follows, and that takes us right in to season 11, 2023-2024 season. Getting close to where we are in the real world. There's something I want to show before we begin this simulation. So let's go to view lines, and I can show you my lineup going into season 11. A little bit of change. We went over all of this in the off season, so it shouldn't be a shock to anyone that saw that video. This team has departed with 2 key players of the franchise, and we've actually lost 3 key players over the last 2 seasons now. Brad Marchand exited before the start of season 10, so he was not on the team. He's in Pittsburgh with the Penguins. But we had a big departure starting on D. There is no more PK Subban. He was traded in the offseason. I had to do it, and it ended up working out in terms of the cap flexibility. I have tremendous cap flexibility because I was willing to deal PK Subban. We acquire in exchange for Subban Luke. Is his first name Luke? Luke Ronning, I believe it is. Ronning on my third D pair, 6'9", 231-pound defenseman, making $1 million even this season on the cap. That's going to save me a lot of money, whereas I was paying PK Subban somewhere in the region of $6 million something dollars or something like that. And I would have had no cap flexibility if I held on to PK. He was an aging D. I saw an opportunity. I saw an out. And boy, did I make the LA Kings better. We're going to see the LA Kings in a second. But this is my D pairs. This is my forward grouping. And the last thing, Carey Price. He leaves in free agency. I was expecting a retirement. He didn't retire. Carey Price signs as a member of the New York Rangers in the offseason. So when we see the Rangers, Carey Price will more than likely be the starting goaltender. Boy, if we run into the Rangers in the playoffs, that's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So that's my goaltending situation going into season 11. I wanted to show, if we flip over a few, the LA Kings. Now they still have a lot of good things going on in net. They have Gibson, Quick, and I believe they signed Ben Bishop in free agency as well. Ben Bishop was on our team last year, but he was a healthy, scratched goaltender. So we basically carried 3 goaltenders. This is an LA Kings team that, is it better for me to... I don't know. We looked at the LA Kings in the last video is all that I'm going to say. I showed you all the overall rating players they have. This team is stacked. And I don't know if this is still their preseason roster, but down the middle, I mean, look at it down the middle. 89 at the first line center position and 84 at fourth line center position. 88, Pepin on the first line. Plishchila on the first line. Clifford, Zykov, second line. I mean, this team is pretty stacked. On D, I thought they were way more stacked than this, but I give them PK Subban, and I didn't realize how good this LA Kings team had the potential to be when I made the trade in the offseason. I didn't know that I didn't even think about Drew Doughty. I thought Doughty would have had such a drop-off, but Doughty's still in 90 overall. That first D pair is delicious if you're LA. You are licking your lips right now at the potential of a deep run into the playoffs if you can get there through this regular season simulation. And this is what I mean when I was looking at the LA Kings. I sorted it by overall rating, and this is a better way to look at their roster. Their main roster has a 90 overall, 89, 88, 88, 87, 85, 85, 84, 84, 84, 84, 82, 81, 80, 80, 80. I mean, they must still have their preseason roster put together there that we saw, because, I mean, look at this lineup. This is a team, and they're barely under the cap. Oh, my goodness. They're barely operating under the cap with .735 in space available. So maybe that PK Subban trade, you can see the dollar value right here. 2 more seasons of PK Subban, and then perhaps he retires as a member of the LA Kings. We could only see them in the Stanley Cup Final in the playoffs if these 2 teams are able to go that far. And to look at it, just so you can see it, Carey Price they signed Price in free agency to a $9.230 contract for a guy that is now a 3-star 3 White Star potential. He was 3.5 White Star potential. He continues to get worse each season. They give him this 3-year deal. Not a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal to Carey Price, who was just trending way downwards, but clearly in the attribute screen, he's now an 86 overall, by the way, so his overall has dropped off. They gave him that big money contract. I don't know what the Rangers are thinking. Did I show the Rangers in the last video, their main roster? We'll just go sort by all skaters. This is how the Rangers stack up. Is this a team that we think, I mean, with the D that is playing in front of him, this team could make the playoffs. We will see in the season simulation, which we are going to get on with now. And with that, opening night on the road against the Florida Panthers. You know how I like to do these things. We're going to do this super fast. There's obviously no banner raising. The defending Cup champions going into this season are the Colorado Avalanche, who have Alex Galchenyuk. Let's just see all the goals. The first one of the season is scored by Kulikov on Zach Fucale at 13:09 of the first period. Ikonen extends the lead for Florida. We didn't get a chance there on that power play to cut into the deficit. Getting through almost halfway through the game now, and the Panthers score right before taking a penalty. Pacioretty gets things going in the right direction with a goal on the board, cutting the lead to 3-1 for the Florida Panthers. We need a quick early goal in this third, and we get one. Louis LeBlanc, 16 minutes left in the third period. There's the tie goal from Kamayev. All right, how about I wait a rally, but then to immediately give the lead back to Florida. It is restored from Barkov, tied from Pacioretty at even strength. What a wild opening game. Clearly, there is some rust for both these teams, and we win it on the power play from Matt Duchene. What a wild opening game to Season 11. I don't know what that has to say for the future for this Season 11 sim to have that wild of a game to begin with. And there's the scoring summary from the first game of 82 on the season. The game winner by Matt Duchene in overtime. The penalty summary as well, so you can see who took what penalties. Did Weiss got away without a penalty in this game? I'm impressed. And now the real simulation begins. And I got that interesting third defense pair. My third D pair have 2 defensemen on it that are both 6'9". Here comes a trade proposal by the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know this player, Mario Kempe, because I'm familiar with the player from the Calgary Flames GM mode, but this guy is on the way down. Now, that's not a bad value contract, but at 35 years of age and a 2-star potential, you want me to give up a first-round pick for this player? Let me see what the value of the player is. It's interesting that the game gives him as much value as he has here, but I'm not willing to trade a first-round pick. I don't know what kind of season we're going to have just yet. We could miss the playoffs, and that first-round pick could be even more valuable. Now, the fact... Okay, it's a short-term injury to Su Kai-Ming. I just got to make a quick little substitution. Okay, so we continue the sim with the injury to Su Kai-Ming, but I got that third D pair has 2 6'9" players on it. Both are 6'9" and like 230 to 241 pounds. That's just a heavy third D pair to go up against. Night in and night out. What is going on with the sim? Why is it taking so long? Another trade proposal? No, we won the game. It just took a while to sim out that victory over Carey Price and the Rangers. I didn't even think about that. So that's our first meeting with the New York Rangers, who acquire Carey Price in free agency in the offseason. And we win that game, hopefully over Carey Price, but I don't have like a box score or anything from that game. Wow, McDavid was out with an injury for the Canucks. Let's see what kind of season Vancouver has. Phoenix has. There's a number of teams we want to pay attention to. Can the Flames get back into the playoffs with a high-flying Johnny Gaudreau? Well, I just did all the scouting assignment, and it looks like it's going to be a weak draft. This would be a great year. We have the cap space. That's a bad inch. That's a long one. Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, that's why I have a healthy extra D. Well, and there's our first loss of the season. It comes in extra time, so we got a point out of that game, but we are missing Tamernis for a long period of time. It's a 2-month injury. He's not returning until late January in the game. Maxime Tutin, 70 overall center, is on waivers. That's an easy non-claim for me because I just don't need it. It's a good thing. I did sign a defenseman in free agency to just be a healthy extra 7th defenseman, and that's going to come in handy with the injury to Murnus. I do want to see what Bertrand did in his games. He has a goal. So he played 4 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Not too bad. +2 rating for an 80 overall. I'll show the attributes here. There's why he scored the goal. It's the shooting category. I got myself a pretty good little shooter. He's just an extra forward in case of injuries. All right, so we're returning to play Carey Price again at home on home ice with Su Kai Ming returning to the lineup. He is going to play through a playable injury. I'm willing to risk that. And the risk is he gets hurt for an even longer period of time as he plays through his playable injury. We lose 5-2 to Price and the Rangers as Ming is, and now just 1 day from being back fully healthy. Solid start to the season as we end October. We end it with a win as well. Now Louis LeBlanc has gone down. That'll be Bertrand to replace that player. That's a month-long injury for LeBlanc. So Bertrand just gets right back in there following that injury. He didn't sit for long. I hope he's ready. All right, but the injuries just keep coming. This is what this game loves to do in the season simulations, is you have a good team put together and you're on a roll. We beat the Islanders in that game, so that's a good thing. You know, that's kind of tempting to get Hjalmarsson. I do want to look at Hjalmarsson. They want my goalie Shrimp, who's in the AHL. Shrimp. Did we draft this guy? We did. 2019 third-round pick. I may have hand-selected this player. He's probably not going to be anything, so you could trade this for scraps. The first round, the draft looks like it's going to be a weak one. And so the first round pick could also be a late first round pick. And with a weak draft, I do see it being reasonable to get rid of my first round pick. But for a 36-year-old Hjalmarsson on a 3-year deal, 36 years old, what's the potential again? I missed it. It's a 3 white star potential. He's just going to continue getting worse. He's a -4 on the Chicago Blackhawks. He's played 8 games this season, and he's done about jack all. But, I mean, you can see that the attributes are still decent for the player. He's a defensive-minded defenseman, and we are missing Murnus. What was I missed the overall rating on the player. I didn't look at that. He's an 83. I'm going to turn it down. I think there's a potential. Well, let me look at what is the value of my first-round pick? It's not a super high-value first-round pick right now. Is that the game basically does it just have a low value to the first round pick for all teams, or does it have a low or a high value if the game thinks the team's going to make or miss the playoffs? So for example, the game probably assumes we're going to make the playoffs, so that trade value on that first round pick is going to be a lot lower. It's almost a second round pick, right? So are we basically a playoff team? I'm going to back out of this screen anyway. I'm not accepting the trade from the Chicago Blackhawks. I think that first round pick can be put to better use to acquire a better player or more of a need. And there goes Niederreiter with essentially a 7-day injury, a week-long injury, and I got to call a player up now. So Niederreiter, week-long injury. LeBlanc, 3-week injury. Murnus, 3-month injury. The Niederreiter one, at least it could be worse. Why is this such a slow simulation? The simulation takes forever. Himmelfarb this is wild. This guy's on waivers, and I offer sheeted him, and now I can just claim him for free. And the Rangers matched it. And you know what's funny? I actually need forwards for my AHL team, so I'm going to claim the player. I'm just going to claim him. So Himmelfarb should be down. So now I just get him for free. Where is Himmelfarb? He is down here. Okay. Man, I mean, if we didn't have all these injuries, we could blast right through the simulation, but I got to constantly assess my team's injuries and where we are short a player or two. So Ethan Werik is the substitution for Niederreiter. It's only a few games. I would imagine that he's not going to be in there for very long. We won 2-1 in that contest with Columbus, so we did win the previous game. We're taking on Ottawa. Basically a home and home with a couple of days off between games. We're 7-2-1. The Ottawa Senators 7-1-2. We win that game. We are 8-2-1 coming off of that. I'm going to continue because Niederreiter. Okay, so I just signed a couple guys for my AHL team, and of course they accepted. They were thrilled somebody even knew that they existed. So Niederreiter, if I simulate ahead, it says 3 days on the bottom right. 3 days until he's back healthy. I want him to be back fully healthy, so he's going to sit for one more game. He will miss the second game against the Ottawa Senators, and then we'll get him right back in there. So Ethan Warwick will give you one last look on the second line. He's been more than serviceable for me in the past. And how about that? We won some games and we kept the puck out of the back of the net during Warwick's time in the lineup. I'll show the lineup right here for you. He is 78 overall player, 32 years of age. He's got a goal in 3 games. How about that? Maybe he's the magic sauce on that second line. We should just keep him there. Oh man, that wasn't all too painful. With Niederreiter missing time, adjusting the lineup to get Warwick out of the lineup, get Niederreiter back in there. Paco Lonvara, I remember that name from looking at the roster. Was he not a high draft pick by Florida? He's the goaltender for the Panthers. Oh, wait a minute. Do I have auto-rotate goalies on or turned off? I don't know if Fucale is just starting every game. Yeah, it's a pretty weak draft class. I'm not worried about drafting and scouting this year. Probably just going to end up trading that first round pick. Yeah, I did not have auto-rotate goaltenders on, so Zach Fucale has been in the... Oh my goodness, look who's on waivers. Ryan White. If it isn't... I thought about this. If you want to make the Cup final, you need Ryan White in your organization, but 35 years old, that's a no. And I think the cap space could be better utilized elsewhere with a different player than Ryan White, who was on... Oh my goodness, and now Pacioretty has been put down with a groin strain or a pulled groin. He'll be back on November 24th. It's November 15th. Okay, so with Pacioretty going down with that injury, it means that Ethan Warwick is playing on my first line left wing until Pacioretty returns in later November. It could be about 4. Well, my rep has gone up. I don't know why my GM rep went up. I didn't even do anything. The team just won a few games, or we won a game 2-0 with Warwick on my first line. They're really hell-bent about this Hjalmarsson trade, and I'm turning it down again. I didn't mean to go to edit trade. I just meant to simply turn it down. Not interested in a defenseman that's that old and making that kind of money and trading my first-round pick away that, as I said, I think that first-round pick could be better utilized for a better player or a player that fits my needs. I don't know what this team is going to need down the line. We might run into an injury that is really costly and long-term, and then I desperately need a forward instead of a defenseman, for example. So anyway, we lose to the Sharks. We're now 11-4-2. It says Pacioretty is available, but he is technically, if you want to think about it this way, he's really 3 days out. I think we'll get him back in there for the game against Edmonton. LeBlanc is also back healthy. I just sit those guys for an extra game or two. I say before we play Edmonton, we just put Pacioretty back. We put both guys back in the lineup, actually. I was just editing my shootout lineup with all the injuries that I have had ongoing and having to insert players back into the lineup. The skill I have in my shootout lineup, there's no reason for this team not to win games in shootouts. There's no reason for this team not to win games at all. We're now down to an 11-6-2 record, so someone on this team, we're starting to drop the ball just a little bit. Ryan Murphy continues to get injured and come back from injuries down in the AHL. Game against the Minnesota Wild, 1-0 win. That was not Fucale, that was Martin Jones in the net for the victory over Minnesota. The scouting assignment thing popping up is so annoying. It doesn't take long. You don't have to spin forever in the scouting screen, but when I just want to zoom right through the simulation and then that pops up and I have to take care of the scouting stuff, kind of annoying, slightly annoying. But the scouting is something you got to do in this game, even if you predict that you are going to be a playoff team and you're not going to hold on to your first round pick. Now that is the assumption. I'm assuming that this team should be, I don't know, this team is dropping games. I got to make some changes. We're just losing way too many games. A few small tweaks to my penalty kill specifically, and I bumped Weiss back down to the third pair, and I gave Ronning, the guy we acquired from Los Angeles, second D pair minutes at 5-on-5. We're not doing enough. I also gave Ronning the penalty kill as well. He's on one of the penalty kill defense. We're not doing enough right now. We're really losing some critical games. I don't know. I may have to turn auto-rotate goaltenders back off and just have Fucale be... I don't know who's in the net for these losses. I'm going to assume it's Fucale. That's a win. That was Martin Jones. So the game is loving Martin Jones. Martin Jones is in net. You know what? I'm overriding all this. I'm turning it back off. This is ridiculous. Why does the game have Martin Jones as my starting goaltender? You have Zach Fucale. It does not make any sense why Martin Jones is a starting goaltender. I mean, I understand, and by the way, Martin Jones won both of these games for our team in net, but I understand giving Fucale a night or so off, but going with Jones as your goaltender is wild. That is a crazy call in net. Is Carey Price at all on this list? I actually got to look at what Price is doing with the Rangers. The points leaders at Ted and B with New Jersey leads in points. Loic Arnaud is on this list. There is no sign of a Connor McDavid or a, what's his name? Johnny Gaudreau, no McDavid. Drouin is on this list. I haven't seen... Ovechkin hasn't retired. Crosby hasn't retired yet in the game, so those guys haven't retired yet. Virtanen, Drouin, Boucher, Arnaud, Johnson, my created player Johnson on San Jose has 14 goals as well. Atlantic Division, so this is where the East has shaken out. The Rangers are not in a playoff spot as we are right now. Currently, we occupy a wild card spot if the season ended today, but it doesn't on December 6, 2023. It does not end. So that's the way the East looks. What about the West, which is always so interesting, paying attention to three teams, Phoenix, LA, San Jose, Vancouver. Well, not three teams, multiple teams in the Pacific. That whole Pacific is really interesting because you've got Phoenix who have been beasts for the last few seasons. I mean, they've been beasts for many years in the GM mode. LA just got a lot better with the Subban trade in the offseason. San Jose has my created player. Vancouver has McDavid and a couple of other interesting players on their team. Calgary has Gaudreau and have been underachieving since Gaudreau has kept growing. And then Edmonton, of course, winning that Stanley Cup. They sit at the bottom of the Pacific Division as we stand right now. Dallas with just 9 points in the standings is kind of hilarious. So not good for Philly. So Philadelphia has Noah Yosin, my created goalie, that is a stud. I mean, we'll take a look at Noah Yosin right now. I'll just show him to you. All right, here you go. Noah Yosin. I've shown him to you in the past. He's an upcoming UFA, by the way. 94 overall goaltender. Created for the draft class to make the GM mode interesting from a drafting and development perspective. Philadelphia gets him at second overall in the 2014 draft of the GM mode, and he has put up some great numbers in the past as well. He had a 2.15-936 save percentage. Look at this consistency in save percentage. Even this year, on a struggling Philadelphia team, 19 games played, he's rocking a 2.88, so the GAA, it's pretty high. That's pretty high, but this is a struggling Flyers team, as we've seen in the standings, and yet he's rocking a 920 save percentage. So he's seeing a lot of shots, I guess, in the games that he's getting into, but they're just not getting timely saves out of Yosin. I don't know what the problem is with Philadelphia, but there's his career stats in front of you. He's played 7 career playoff games. It would be a shame if the Flyers and even the Rangers can't make the playoffs with this goaltending. With the Rangers shelling out all that money to an aging Carey Price, the decision there just did not make any sense to me. I don't understand what was going through the mind of the Rangers GM when he made that contract offer to Carey Price. And of course, Price is going to sign it. I mean, $9-something million. Very close to what he was being paid in the real world by the Canadiens when Price was actually worth $10-something million. Oh, the LA Kings, PK Subban and the Los Angeles Kings. Here's our first matchup with the Kings on the season. It goes in favor of the LA Kings. We've got to make some changes. This team's not winning games. That's Stat Central, not the coaching options. And I'm going to just stay on board with you guys for these changes. I want to show you how the lineup is. It's not clicking for this team, so something has got to be swapped. First of all, let me look at my lines. We'll just take a quick in-depth look at all this because I guess I can afford to do this. 10 goals, 15 points. Pacioretty is not the problem. Duchesne is, I assume, also not the problem. He is 3 goals is really low for Duchesne. He should be scoring more goals than that, but he's feeding the puck to Pacioretty. So those two have chemistry and are not an issue. Kudrwinski, not an issue. First line is not a problem. Second line, Niederreiter. Let's see what you're doing. +1, 7 goals, 12 points. Not too bad in 24 games. Ming, are you an issue, Ming? -2, 11 goals, 17 points. That second line is producing. I meant to look at LeBlanc, not Niederreiter here. LeBlanc, I want to, again, for future reference, Vince, keep this in the video. 5 goals and 10 points. That second line's good. I'm going to guess it's my bottom 6. And we need a shakeup, I'm guessing, in the bottom 6. 1 goal, 5 points, -1. Maybe it's the special teams. Maybe the penalty kill is really, really bad. You know, we could be giving up all the goals on a penalty kill. We maybe need to be more disciplined, or we need to just set ourselves up for more success on the PK by swapping the penalty kill groups. Fourth line, Vovoda, 5 goals, 9 points on the fourth, getting fourth line ice time. Teravainen getting fourth line time, 3 goals, 10 points. So fourth line's actually pretty good. They're chipping in with some offense. It's probably the D pairs that we need to look at. I tried to stack it up with the skill up front with Severson and Hedman. Just 1 goal, 9 points from Hedman, but he's a +1. We're keeping the puck out of the net at even strength. These guys are not even in the negative, so even strength, at least for that first D pair, is not an issue. Chris Begris, +1 rating. I'm looking at +-. It's all that I have to go on in this game. Ronning is an interesting one because he's the defenseman we got, 6'9", 231. He's the guy that we got from Los Angeles in the PK Subban trade. I'm guessing Maximilian Weiss is a heavy negative. No, he's a +2? What the hell, man? So, all this is telling me is that at even strength, we're not an issue at even strength. Nobody's heavily in the negative at 5-on-5. Well, I'm going into team standings. This will back up my theory here in team standings. So let's just look at goals against per game. We are probably giving up some of the most. We are top 10 in goal. Look at Dallas. Oh my God. What? I gotta look at this Dallas Stars team. They're giving up 4.71 goals against per game. They're scoring 2.21. They're almost, this is kind of hilarious. They are almost giving up double as many goals as they are scoring. That's why they have 9 points in the standings. They are 4-19-1 to this point in the season with 4 wins in regulation. Regulation plus, that's regulation plus overtime wins, isn't it? So, wow, Dallas, it's a shambles. A 7.9% on the power play. There's a lot going wrong. So I was not looking at Dallas. I was looking at my team. We are definitely bottom 10 in goals against per game. We're giving up way too many goals. What's funny is we're scoring 2.74 goals per game. So we're scoring exactly as much as we are giving up, which leads to a 500 record. And yeah, we almost have a very close to a 500 record and 30 points in the standings so far. So clear, where does that rank in goals for per game in the league? It's not near the top, is it? It's kind of in the middle. It's in the middle. The top, these guys will come back down to earth, by the way. Winnipeg, New Jersey, even Toronto. Some of these teams should come down to earth that are scoring more than 3 goals for per game. Our power play percentage is decent. 20% is getting closer to where we want to be, so it's not terrible. Power play is top 5 in the league right now. The shorthanded penalty kill's got to be, it's not great, but it's not terrible. 83% is not horrendous, but it's definitely not a top 10 penalty kill in the league. So at least we don't have Dallas's. I got to look at Dallas. What is going on with the Dallas Stars? I got to go look at that. Okay, Dallas, how is your team built? It is Nick Ritchie, Alexiak, Stahl, Ben, Chason, Faxa, Foligno, Frazier, Smith, Eakin, Puustinen, Dylan. I mean, this is not a super old team either. Look at these mid-80s players. You would think with this roster you'd be able to win. This roster, as it is put together, has 9 points in the standings with almost 30 games played on the season. Who's their goaltender? That's the big question. What's the goaltender? Well, that explains it. That would, unless there's an injury. They might have an injury, but that would explain a lot. 63 overall goaltender, a 23-year-old in the net. Dallas, what are you doing? Unless you have some severe injuries. Let me see. Is there anyone in their system? They are 7.334 above the cap or below the cap. They are within the cap space or cap. And yeah, they got to have an injury. Surely there's a goaltender that's injured for Dallas. Nope. No, they do have some injuries, but it's not a goaltender. I don't know what Dallas is doing. Maybe they're just trying to save money, or this is some 10 million IQ play that I don't understand. It's not working. A 63 overall goaltender is that's not going to cut it. Your fan base is wondering what the hell is going on. They're going to stop showing up to games. They can't support this. This is a clown show, Dallas. What are you guys doing? Okay, so I made some did I make my changes? I didn't make changes to my penalty kill. I just got right back into simulating because I checked out the Dallas Stars. But that's pretty funny that the Dallas Stars have a 63 and a 60 overall goaltender to back him up as their options in net. So we get a win there. Fucali and the team getting it back on the right track after we suffered that 4-2 loss to LA. Maybe we just needed those 3 days off between games to rest up and recover and get ready to throw down with the Avalanche. We got the Chicago Blackhawks coming up. We're going to round out December. I'm going to take a break from recording and do this recording in 2 parts for the season simulation. There goes Pat Chiaretti until Christmas, so that'll be a Christmas gift worth waiting for when Pat Chiaretti comes back from injury. Okay, first line, Ethan Warwick is back. I can't believe that Sidney Crosby has not retired. He's coming back from injury. So could this be the last go-around? We're looking at the last seasons with guys like Crosby and Ovechkin before they officially retire and call it a career. You know, the big problem for us is Maximilian Weiss. He's an extremely undisciplined player. I'm willing to hold out Pat Chiaretti for an extra game. I just need Pat Chiaretti healthy. Someone's going to get injured now that Pat Chiaretti's returning. Watch this. Columbus game, no injury. Wow, I'm shocked, but we do need to change that penalty kill. Okay, now I've made some of those changes to the penalty kill. It's the penalty kill specifically because I know that's the area that we were struggling in the most. And I mean, it just doesn't seem to matter. This team has not got it in themselves to win games. It feels like we almost need a mid-season trade. No, Tamernis is a big one. We don't have him for another month. He's out until late January. Maybe we just need, and there goes LeBlanc with an injury. Chris Tierney. Oh, man, how much time left? 1 year? You know what? I'm going to claim Tierney. I'm going to claim Chris Tierney. I'm claiming him off waivers. So Tierney is added to the AHL team, and that's an option in case of injury. LeBlanc is back, but I'm going to sit him. I'm going to give Charles Bertrand a couple of games because he's in the lineup in substitution for Louis LeBlanc. Begris now gets injured. He's going to have elbow surgery. And now, you know what? The trade for Hjalmarsson is really tempting. Chicago, you want to talk about that Hjalmarsson trade? Well, Begris is a big hole in the lineup that we're going to have to fill. And I got to call up a defenseman. Okay, Ryan Murphy's in the lineup. I'm going to have to explore a trade for a defenseman. I think I'm going to have to explore a trade for... I'm done. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to say. Okay, well, my defenseman that I drafted, Russell Glencross, is an emergency call-up on D with a Severson injury. I've lost 3 defensemen. My 3 of my better defensemen are all out with an injury. At least it's not Hedman. And so Glencross makes his NHL debut against the Maple Leafs on home ice, and we win 5-2. I got to go check out the stats. So Begris, 85 defenseman. Severson, an 87 defenseman. And Tamernis, an 84 defenseman. Overall rating, all gone with injuries. Couldn't make it up, man. So there you go. I played him on the first pair, Russell Glencross. If you didn't get a point in your first game, he's played 1 NHL. He has 2 career points. Wow. Him playing on the first D pair, he has 2 points in that first game, 2 assists, and a +2 rating. That's actually insane. Okay, so we're not waiting until the trade deadline. We'll pick up. I got to do these recording sessions in 2 parts, so we're picking up. This is kind of just inserted in the edit, I guess, kind of a jarring edit to the trade screen. But I need a defenseman. I have 2 options, and I'll just show you the 2 options I have on the board. I could go for the pricier Mark Stahl. I have the cap space for this, but this is where the Mark Stahl trade would make sense. He's got 1 year left at that $5.7 million cap hit. Yes, 36, purely just the rental player. He is 87 overall. I'll pull up the stats as well at the time of a potential trade here if Dallas agrees to this. 34 games played this season. He's heavily in the negative, but I think we can squeeze that last little bit of hockey out of Mark Stahl before his career potentially ends. The return in this trade for Dallas, if I pull up the trade value at the bottom of the screen, there's the value of the first round pick that I would be sending for this year. That is this year's first round pick in what looks to be a pretty weak draft according to my scouts. Hejduk is a prospect and not a ton of value, but the value between Stahl and the first is really close. And I mean, look, Dallas, I'm willing to take Mark Stahl off your hands. You're a team that have, I believe we checked it out, it was like 9 points in the standings. And so I'm willing to take Mark Stahl off of your hands pretty easily here. I'm not going to press execute trade just yet because I want to show one other trade option I do have. Now, Chicago, they were trying so hard to get rid of Nicholas Hjalmarsson. And I could take on Nick Hjalmarsson as a rental player. He's 36 years old. The problem I have with Hjalmarsson, he's an 82. I don't have too much of an issue with that. It's the 3 years at 4.4 as the cap hit. I'd rather take on the better player, higher cap hit with a 1 year deal in Mark Stahl than take on the 36-year-old Nick Hjalmarsson. Hjalmarsson's stats for this year, a goal and 8 points, -9 rating, and his playoff stats from his most recent appearance with the Chicago Blackhawks. So, obviously, if you look at the trade value, a first-round pick would be overpayment on its own. I'm not going to send Chicago a second Hejduk and a first for a rental in Hjalmarsson. So, I mean, Chicago would take that deal all day. They'd run away with this deal. I'm going to start by approaching the Dallas Stars. They want Hejduk and my first. I just got to find where Skater's giving away. I got Mark Stahl in here. So here is the official proposal. They want to give away Stahl pretty badly. So how bad do you want to dump Mark Stahl off of your hands? I'm offering you the first Hejduk, which is a prospect, and Montreal, our second round pick for 2025 that we own. So do Dallas reject this? They actually agree to it. Wow. So there you go. I've dumped off those assets for Mark Stahl. Well, that was really easy, and that will shore up my defense easily, very easily shore up the defense. We can scratch Russell Glencross, who played the one game as a 76 overall player. I mean, he got into an NHL game. He played his first NHL game in his career, and we're just going to send him right back down. I can't have a 76 overall player playing first pair minutes for a huge chunk of the season, and with Tamernis gone for as long as he's gone for, we have 3 injuries at D right now. And with him gone as long as he is, the addition of Mark Stahl is a big one because I think Tamernis is not coming back until March, and it's January in the game world. Oh, now Damon Severson is returning. Okay, we begin. Continue the sim. Oh, it's December into January. Yeah, it is January now. It's like past the new year for 2024. So we're going into 2024 calendar year. Damon Severson has returned with from an injury. We acquire and are playing our first game, and now Damon Severson falls down with another. As soon as he came back, he got re-injured with a mild concussion. That was our first game. We won it 5-1. That was our first game with Mark Stahl in the lineup. So Severson gets inserted into the lineup and then taken right back out. And in his place, Ryan Murphy, who just came out of the lineup, goes right back in. We've been riding with Fucale. I should probably swap Fucale with Martin Jones for a game or so, and Ryan Murphy gets injured right after that. Ryan Murphy was the substitution for the injured Damon Severson. Well, Russell Glencross gets called back up to the team, and he's in the lineup with Damon Severson and Ryan Murphy, and all these defensemen missing time. Severson is available, but it's a playable injury, so we're going to sit Severson for a couple of games. He'll be back against Winnipeg. This is what I hate about this game, is the injuries in this game just piss me off, because it just takes forever to sim, and we have another freaking injury. I'm going to lose my mind, man. We have another injury. It's Teemu Pulkkinen with a broken nose, so I have to replace that player. Okay, we can finally continue simulating. Please, no more freaking injuries. This game pisses me off, the injuries, because it will just throw them at you. Murphy is available to play. He should be a healthy extra. I'm just going to continue. We win 3-2 over Buffalo. I actually probably should have gone to the edit line screen. What do we have coming up? Any back-to-backs? No, I think somewhere in here, Phoenix or Vancouver, we will play Martin Jones, my backup goaltender, so I can give Fucale a much-needed night off. Man, the injuries in this game, this game loves to throw them at you. And it just slows the simulation down. I could be through this so much quicker if it didn't just constantly hit me with injuries, as I burped in the middle of my sentence there. 9 weeks until Begris, 2 weeks until Tamernis. In the meantime, we acquired a Mark Stahl from Dallas to shore up the defense. I'm sure Dallas was thrilled to part ways with Mark Stahl. They see this season as a complete rebuild for their team. And Joel Tutu on waivers, no. And I'm going to help out the Stars with their rebuild by sending them that first round draft pick. They're running with 63 and 60 overall goaltender in their net. Speaking of goaltenders, so we got Martin Jones in the net against Phoenix. I'm going to let it slide. I'm going to give him one more game against Vancouver. Just give Fucale a few nights off here. Oh, we're playing McDavid in the Canucks. That's great. He's got 16 goals, so he's not scoring as many as he probably should have through this point in the season. And we lose that game in regulation. That is it for the Martin Jones experiment. All right, Zach Fucale, hopefully you are well rested and able to take command of the goal crease as we face the Ottawa Senators on the road. A team that's not really that far down the road from Montreal, if you think about it. I mean, they're somewhat close to each other. We win big time 8-2 as Henrik Tamernis returns to the lineup. Let's just see what Fucale does against Winnipeg, and we can make a decision going into St. Louis on if we want to give Martin Jones that start. Tamernis is going to be playing riskily here through a playable injury against Winnipeg, and we win that game. I don't think we suffered any injuries in that game against Winnipeg. I'm going to go back to Fucale for one more game, and we get plenty of days off anyway, so you might as well just put Fucale in there. If he gets fatigued, it is what it is. We just need a win. Just pick up 2 points. We do. 6-2 win. Begris, Pulkkinen, the only injuries on this team now. Almost a fully healthy squad, and that'll be the All-Star break coming up. Su-Kai Ming might be representing the Canadiens in his first All-Star game appearance if the voters deem him worthy of playing in this All-Star game. Okay, let's look at the All-Star list for these teams. We can look at the West as well. Wow, how about that? That is quite the first line in the West. We'll see it in a moment. We will go over that in a moment. But in the East, Kadri, Drouin, and Tursunbayev. Tursunbayev is the first overall pick in this GM mode by the Red Wings in one of the previous seasons. Ovechkin still 90 overall, centered by Juuso Aikkonen, Phil Kessel, James Neal, Tavares, Teddenby. Su-Kai Ming has been shorted out of an All-Star game appearance. He got snubbed. I can't believe he got snubbed. Morgan Riley, Hedman. So Victor Hedman represents Montreal in this All-Star game. Roland McEwen and Cody Ceci. Brendan Smith and Justin Falk. And the goalies are Lehner and Fucale. All right, Fucale got there as the goaltender for the East All-Stars. And the West All-Stars, Loic Arnaud, created player drafted by Phoenix. So you know that these are 3 players on 3 teams that are vying for playoff dominance and for regular season dominance as well at that. Loic Arnaud, big-time offensive producing player. These are all playmakers playing on the same line, by the way. I edited McDavid, I created Johnny Gaudreau, and I created Arnaud for the draft class. So, and all 3 are playing on the same line at the All-Star game. Coyle, Galchenyuk, Edom. Galchenyuk is loving life right now. He's playing on that Colorado team. He's a defending Cup champion. Maybe the trade out of Montreal benefits him after all. Domi, Nugent Hopkins, Watson, Faksa, Pavelski, Patan. And then your D pairs, Ekman Larson and Jones, Pietrangelo Doughty, Elliott and Burns. So no, PK Subban with the LA Kings did not make the All-Star game. The goalies are Stanley Denny and Jordan Bennington. Yeah, let's just check out a variety of things here at the All-Star break. The leaders in save percentage, GAA. This is the top 8, of course. The points leaders, the goaltenders with the most wins. Fucale is top 3 in wins, but of course this guy's playing a ton of games for this team as well. Arnaud is there. Nowhere is McDavid in the points lead. He is not in the top 8 in points. You have quite the spread from 60 points down to Johnny Gaudreau at 48 points on the season. And Max Domi in Phoenix. He's going to be enjoying himself with Arnaud, those guys that can create and produce offense in Phoenix. The goals leaders, Drouin is back on top as a goals leader in this GM mode, and he's got a nice lead ahead of Virtanen with a 5-goal deficit at second place in the goal-scoring lead. So I guess just for some reason McDavid gets there. Is it the overall rating? Maybe that's why he's in the All-Star game, because he's not even in the top 8 on any of these lists, but that's also NHL standings, and maybe he's top 8 in the Western Conference. The leaders in the Metro, the leaders in the Atlantic, we occupy a top 3 spot right now in the Atlantic Division. The Maple Leafs are struggling, but their season is not over. In fact, that wild card spot is very catchable, and the wild card positioning as it stands right now would be Detroit and Boston. So very catchable for Toronto. Their season is not even far from done. The Dallas Stars have finally accrued some points in the standings. They have 27 points in the standings. The leaders in that Pacific Division that I want to focus so much on, Phoenix, Calgary, LA, and Vancouver. I would love to see all 4 of those teams make the playoffs in the West for many reasons. Phoenix because of their dominance and my created player. Calgary because of Gaudreau. LA because of PK Subban and just how amazing that LA squad is when you look at it top to bottom. Vancouver for the fact that they have Axel Arnersson, my created defenseman, and an edited Connor McDavid for the GM mode. And thus, we continue with the post-All-Star break simulation. There is no trade to be made at the deadline. We made our deadline move by acquiring Mark Stahl in January, at the very beginning of January. That was our trade deadline move, and we made that move out of desperation. With all the injuries that we had at D, I felt we didn't have a choice. There's no point hanging on to a first-round pick when we expect to make the playoffs, and it's going to be a weak draft, and down goes Damon Severson until February 27. You know what? Pulkkinen's returning from injury, shutout victory over Nashville. How about that? Pulkkinen returning from injury. I'm going to scratch him. I'm going to sit him, and we're going to run with Bertrand on the 4th line. See what the team does with Bertrand playing 4th line minutes for this team. Damon Severson down again with an injury. This guy can't stay healthy this season. Fortunately, I had a guy sitting as a healthy extra 7th defenseman that I could just plug right in there. So the 3-2 loss, I think, to Minnesota was in extra time. Looks like the team got a point there. Sukai Ming's doing well. He had 21 goals at 47 games into the regular season. I don't think he's played all 47 of those games. February 10th isn't too long for Kujawenski. So the injury to Kujawenski, not too long term. Ethan Werrick is going to play first line right wing time while Kujawenski recovers and returns from his injury. We're playing San Jose. I just need the team to find ways to win games. Werrick on the first line. I think this team has a really good record when I've just thrown Werrick very lazily on the first line just because of the injury. Kujawenski technically available, but 4 days out from being fully healthy. So what I'm going to do is continue with first line Werrick. And first line Werrick does not come through, but we lost that game in extra time. So we got a point out of that game to the Coyotes. First line Werrick for one more game against Los Angeles. And this is another game against PK Subban and the Los Angeles Kings. This time we face the Kings and Subban in their home barn. A 30-18-4 Kings team. Tamernis, man, my defensemen continue going down with injuries. This is brutal. All right, so we lose. I think we lose in extra time to LA as well. We now have 5 in the OT shootout loss column on the season. Ryan Murphy is up on emergency recall with the injury to was it Tamernis that went down? Man, Severson and Tamernis, that second D pair, has had some brutal luck this season with staying healthy. Those two have missed a lot of games with injury. But as frustrating as injuries are in this game, it's a part of the game. It's just part of the process. You got to deal with injuries, and it's adversity that you got to go through as a team. Fortunately, these aren't too long-term injuries. You know, they're not too bad. I know Begris was a long-term injury. He was like several months with his injury. He had surgery on his injury was like surgery on something. So Tamernis, I'm going to hold out for that player for one more game. With the injuries we've had at D, I can't risk a long-term injury. So by just throwing him right back in there, he's still 2 days out from being fully healthy. If I simulate one more day ahead, it should say 1 day. And then we play Pittsburgh, and Henrik Tamernis should be fully healthy to get back in the lineup, and he is. He's ready to play New Jersey. All right, Tamernis is back, and I know I'm complaining about a game from 2014-ish, but the menus in this game, if you go to edit lines or do roster moves, holy goodness, man. The menus in this game are slow. They are sluggish. I know that Ellerby was on waivers, but I don't know that I need a depth defenseman off of waivers, and Kudrowinski's been injured again. All right, Timo Pulkkinen, don't let me down. You're playing first-line time with Kudrowinski's second injury in like 2 weeks. So 3-2 loss. We lost both of these games in regulation. That's not good. So I'm thinking about, do we give Fucali a night off or two here? Just let him reset his brain and his body for a few games, or is he just good to run the gauntlet? Because, I mean, I'm thinking about giving him the gauntlet to the end of the season. So Pulkkinen has now been injured after I subbed him in there for Ryan Kudrowinski's injury. So I got to call someone up. Oh, man, these injuries are really starting to piss me off. And now Damon Severson, I'm going to sit you for a few days. Yeah, I'm going to sit you for, you know what? Let's just go ahead and put Damon Severson back in there. I am telling you what, it is taking me ages to sim the second half of the season. We're still in February. I've been sitting here doing this for, you know what, continue. I want to make sure that player gets fully healthy before he goes back in the lineup, because I'm spending forever making roster moves and line changes with all the injuries. Martin Jones is the goalie for a couple of games here. Let's see what he gets done in the net. He won that game. He won 2 games in a row. This is just ridiculous, man. These guys keep going. They cannot stay healthy. Where is my med staff? What are we feeding our players that they keep getting hurt? Oh, my goodness, man. I'm so tired of players just getting hurt, getting injured. Kudrowinski comes back off of his injury. Tamernis is now hurt. Pulkkinen is available to play in the team's next game. I don't care. They want to trade. I already made my trade. I don't want, I'll take a look at Kyle Palmieri just to see what he's all about at this point in his career. He's 33. Oh, he's 33. How many years? 1 year left. That's a cheap value deal. Can I trade you Pulkkinen is, they want Stéphane Laperrière. I'll trade you freaking Pulkkinen as well. What's his trade value? What's Pulkkinen's trade value? It's very minimal. Let me actually compare Pulkkinen. I could either trade Pulkkinen, or let me just throw him in there because he's a healthy extra. Pulkkinen, there's his attributes. His shooting category is pretty decent, and he's been a long time part of our organization for years now. What about Kyle Palmieri? He is a really good skater, and I mean, do we want to trade Pulkkinen for a Kyle Palmieri? I think I'm just going to turn this down. Continue simming. I just spent so much time. I haven't gotten through the simulation. I don't want to spend any more time looking at trades than I have to. I made my trade. I got my player that I wanted. Sean Monahan's now down with a concussion until April 2nd. So that's pretty much until the end of the season. No, I don't want your trade. New York, I don't want Kyle Palmieri. For the second time in the span of a couple of days. I don't want to do that trade. This game's done me dirty when it comes to the injuries this season. I mean, it's just been stockpiling injuries all year long. We just got Pulkkinen back healthy. Henrik Tamernes is due to return in 4 days' time. Begris in 2 weeks. Could you imagine having a almost fully healthy roster? The game just would not allow that. It will not allow for that. Tamernes might be available for Edmonton, but I'm going to sim past Edmonton, and then I can make a D change. Dust off your PK Subban jerseys. He's back in the lineup. Ooh, he was injured for the LA Kings. We lose 2-1 to Edmonton, so that'll be Tamernes back. Tamernes still, just please stay healthy. Please do not get hurt. I totally forgot that Martin Jones was getting the games instead of Fucale, so Fucale is back after sitting for a little while. It just allowed him to clear his head and get healthy. We did our deadline move. I said it already. Gaudreau with 19 goals for Calgary entering this matchup. We lost 3-2. I don't want to do any negotiations, but I can continue, and as we get past the do I have to go past deadline day? Is deadline day officially over? If I go to GM options and I look at transaction news, filter it by player pick and trading, do all teams. We do have some trades that went down. Nashville acquires Cogliano and former Predator. He is back, Sergei Kostitsyn, plus a 2024 third rounder from Washington. While Washington acquires goaltender Mario Beaulieu and goaltender Johan Gustafsson. So they're looking to get two goaltenders there in Washington. Sean Matthias to Florida. Actually, didn't he actually play for Florida? So did they just receive a player that's already played for their organization? Fraser McLaren goes to Ottawa. And then Anthony Berard to St. Louis in exchange for that player. Del Zotto to Ottawa. And then, of course, Palmieri acquired by Vancouver. So Vancouver finally, or rather the Islanders finally dumped Kyle Palmieri to a suitor. Dallas acquires a 2024 first from Chicago. Dallas is just in full rebuild mode. How many first-round picks do you think they're going to have in the upcoming draft? So there's a few trades that have gone down. Is our trade that we made with Dallas in here? It was all the way back in early January. So I'm just going through these. Jack Johnson, actually, wasn't he drafted by Carolina? And he gets traded there. So he gets dealt to Carolina. And I think the story there was he refused to sign or play for Carolina or something along those lines. All right, so that's all of the moves that were made at the deadline. We continue simulating. Gelich is on waivers. Recchi on waivers. And that's it. I've been sitting here doing this for an hour now, and it's taken me that long to get to this point in the season. How many weeks left? So if we forget this week with Vancouver here upcoming, we got 1 here with Boston, 2, 3, 4, 5, and really it's like 5 weeks left in the season. And Monahan is due to return at the very beginning of April. So we got quite a bit still left to simulate. I will sim past Boston, and we'll take a look at where we sit in the Atlantic Division and just where all the division leaders are right now, especially that Pacific. I want to know, how is the Pacific churning out at this point in the season? McDavid has a 36-goal year. Begris is it's telling me 3 days until Begris. I want to play it safe on Chris Begris, get him 100%, and then he can play D. I mean, you missed this much of the season to this point. What does it matter if I throw you in the lineup now? Just get 100% healthy. I've had so many injuries at D. I probably might have one coming out of this game against Boston. It's even worse. It's Su Kai Ming, but it's only a couple of days. I have a big problem of almost having too many good defensemen. So this is my D core with the addition of Mark Stahl and Begris coming back from injury. All my D are healthy for the first time since the start of the season. At D, if I go over here, all the way over to all my defensemen on my NHL roster, including 2 scratched healthy defensemen, Ronning and Shaslevy, 83 overall and 82 overall. Ronning, who we acquired from Los Angeles in the PK Subban trade. You can see he's a 9th overall pick. It's tough to scratch him, but I did it because Weiss has superior numbers this season. And you really want Ronning to grow, but he's played a chunk of the year. The addition of Mark Stahl means someone is the odd man out, and it is Ronning. I believe I got Shast Levy in free agency. How did we acquire him? He was basically supposed to be just a 7th D, and that's what he is right now. He's a 7th defenseman, but I have 8 of them in the NHL right now. Sukai Ming down for just a few games. He's basically going to miss 2, maybe 3 games. Tierney is called up from the A as my substitution for Sukai Ming. Hopefully he can play well at the second center position for a few games. This is where it just helps to have some decent depth. Tierney isn't an amazing player or anything. He's a 78 overall center. I'm going to go one more game with Tierney as Ming technically is ready to return from his injury. No more center injuries. We're winning games, man. We won games with Tierney at second line center, but that is the return. I'm going to assume the return of Sukai Ming for the game against Philadelphia. We'll sim ahead, let him get as healthy as possible, and get him back in the lineup. Okay, can I please just get through the remaining regular season? Flyers are struggling with Noah Yosin, the goaltender. The 95, is he a 95? 94, 95 goaltender? Louis LeBlanc now injured. This is just such bullshit. LeBlanc now down with an injury. That's my left wing on the second line. So Tierney just right back into the lineup, insert him right back in there, simulate ahead. We're winning games. The important part is we are winning games. We got this homestand that we're on. We're up to 39, 25, and 5. I'd like to just get this wrapped up. Oh my goodness, man. I'm about to have a conniption fit. I'm going to have a conniption. I'm going to have a damn conniption fit. I got to go call up Warwick from the A. Oh my goodness, man, the bullshit continues. Just more injuries piling on to more injuries for this whole entire season simulation that I've been doing. Now, we are playing a struggling Flyers team. We're getting wins. I have freaking Warwick, a 78 overall player, playing first-line center minutes with Matt Duchene gone for a short period of time. I got Tierney, a 78 overall player, playing second-line left wing with LeBlanc's injury, which is a 5-weeker. And now Matt Duchene is back, and we got to plug Duchene in there. Oh, this game really sucks. This game, when it throws these injuries at you, it really freaking sucks. I'm just agitated. It shouldn't take me this long to do a full season. It shouldn't. I'm going to scream. I'm going to freaking scream. Oh my goodness, man. Tamernis and Ming both went down with injuries in the same game. So the players that I just sent down, I have to call them back up. And I have to throw Ronning back in the lineup. I don't care about Hamilton, man. Just stop throwing injuries to my organization. My entire team is suffering injuries. And now I got multiple players who are available to be dressed. Okay, I kind of ran out of patience, and I have to do this season simulation in a third part. So I have to do this part separately from the other 2 recordings that I did. Not that that matters when I edit it all together. Sukai Ming is 1 goal shy of a 30-goal year. We got the last 9 games of the season left to go. I don't know that the scouting assignment's really going to matter from this point on. We traded our first-round pick to get Mark Stahl. That could be a huge addition to this team going down the stretch. Okay, Tamernis is back healthy now. So, what was the deal? Was it just like a 1-day injury with Tamernis? I got to take Ronning out. Okay, and Sukai Ming, he's hit 30 goals. Sukai Ming, 30-goal scorer, while the third Stahl brother is on waivers from Winnipeg. He's making $1.12 million as a 72 overall. What in the world? But Ming has hit 30 goals. We have a mostly healthy squad aside from Louis LeBlanc. He's out for 3 more weeks. This team is cruising. We are kind of putting this on cruise control. Before I simulate and we potentially lose another player to injury, let's just look at the stats real quick. So I'm just going to scroll right through this super quick. Look at Burke for Phoenix, carrying the Coyotes. Arnaud with 94 points. It looks like it could be a 100-point season for him by the time it's all said and done. Drouin in a contest with McDavid for that Maurice Richard trophy in the last 8, 9, however many games for those teams. We are second in the division. Oh man, it would be fun to play Florida. That would be a welcome change from all the playoff opponents that we've gotten. We won't be seeing Buffalo this season. They're not going to make the playoffs. In the Metro Division, so what's the wild card right now? The wild card is Toronto and Tampa Bay. Man, Columbus and Pittsburgh are going to have to get it together. We are still potentially chasing the Ottawa Senators for the division lead. Out in the Pacific, Phoenix, LA, Vancouver, and Calgary all look like they might make the playoffs. That's a good sign because those are all teams I want to see make it into the postseason. The defending Cup champion Avalanche are sitting outside looking in right now. They are well outside looking in, actually. The wild card spot, this is insane. So the wild card spot is at 87 points. The Avalanche are almost a full 10 points. They're 8 points back right now, not far from being 10 points in back of that possible wild card spot. So it looks like the two wild card teams are possibly, or I'm sorry, the wild card is not 87 points. It's 90 and 87 points. But 87 is the cutoff to get into the playoffs as a wild card team right now. That would be Calgary and Anaheim as wild card teams, which would be Johnny Gaudreau in the playoffs. We need to see that. So just a quick look at the standings. I didn't take a look. I don't remember what the East looks like again, but I mean, we just win a handful of games here and we're guaranteed to be a playoff team. There's no reason we can't beat the Islanders. And we did beat the Islanders. Derek Brassard is on waivers. Wow. Man, do I have the cap space for that? He's making 1 year left. Could you imagine the depth of just claiming Brassard off waivers? And could I could send a player like Polkanen. Dude, I should just claim it. I should just claim Brassard off of waivers. I mean, it's 1 year, $3 million. I have the cap space for this, no doubt. I wish I knew exactly how much cap space I have. Because I don't know. How old is he? I keep cycling through. He's 36. But I mean, look at this. The stats are still there. If you get an injury at center, that's a bit. What's his face-off rating? It's not amazing, but you know, if you get an injury at center, I mean, this is an easy claim for me. He's 36, but I mean, this comes off the books I'm claiming the player. He'll be placed in the minors. Now, that is not a big deal for me because don't I have a player called up? I have Tierney called up, and I could just. Brassard, we could easily call Brassard up before the playoffs. I have $3.9 million in cap space available at this exact moment in time. I can send players down. I'm willing to send a player like, where's Polkanen? I could send a player like Polkanen on waivers if I had to. And he is making $1.1 million. So I could save space there. Brassard is basically, as soon as LeBlanc comes back healthy, I'm calling back Brassard up to the NHL level. Or if we get an injury at any forward position. It's just a nice little safety valve option I have. We are just dominating. We beat Ottawa 4-0. I want to give Fucale 2 nights off here, and then we'll run Fucale for the last 3 games. So I'm going to make a quick change. Okay, so these next 2 games are going to go to Martin Jones. Just got to give Martin Jones a few reps before the postseason starts. We're playing Florida. I'm going to guess that Florida would appreciate us just handing them a few points. We lose 5-1, so we definitely gave them 2 points in the standings. Rankin, I'll look at the player, but I just claimed Brassard. I do want to see. He's making $1.2 million. Rankin would be a better claim, I think. Look at the shooting category in terms of just pure offensive ability, but obviously I'm just going to say no to that player. He might get claimed. Martin Jones in the net was probably not a good call. Will he win against Detroit? Get it right back on the right track against the Red Wings. We lose 5-2. Yeah, that's enough Martin Jones. That is enough of Martin Jones in the net. Back to Zachary Fucale. It looks like the Jets are looking to take the division title in the Central. St. Croix is down on waivers. Again, curious about some of the information, the contract there and everything, the player. Again, I just claimed the player off of waivers. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take that player off of Chicago. We got back-to-back games against the Red Wings. Can Fucale claim? We do. We take a 5-2 victory after losing 5-2. Now the question becomes, for me, Arnaud hits 100 points. So there you go from Loic Arnaud, 62 assists on the season, 41 goals. Just an unbelievable year. He does it year in and year out for the Coyotes. We're down to the last 2 games of the season for us. So the maximum points we can get is a 104-point season. This game over Ottawa head-to-head is crucial for the potential to take the Atlantic Division. As it stands right now, there's a look at the West as well. Phoenix is going to claim the President's Trophy. Phoenix might win another President's Trophy. It hasn't done them any good in the past. The wild card remains, of course, Anaheim and Calgary. I mean, Colorado and Minnesota, you can kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. Dallas with 54 points in the standings. Remember, at one point they had just 9 points in the standings. And Carey Price and the Rangers, they're not going to make the playoffs. Carey Price and the Rangers out. PK Subban and the LA Kings look like they could lock up second place. They've got a playoff spot, and they might lock up second. They're going to lock up second or third place. They're going to play Vancouver in the first round in the Pacific Division. That pretty much is a lock. The question is, are we playing Florida or Toronto? I do want Florida, but this head-to-head game first is of most importance against the Ottawa Senators. We got to take victory. Come on. Just need a win here. I just need us to carry ourselves to a win. It is a 7-3 win. How about that? 7-3 statement victory over the Ottawa Senators. We're going to play Florida in the last game of the season. My question is, how does that change the standings? We now have 102 points. Florida drops, so we need to give Florida a win. Because if Florida can take, I'm gonna swap goaltenders and give Florida a better chance to win this game. So Florida, I'm doing you a solid because I want a new opponent in the first round. So I'm giving Martin Jones the start for the regular season finale. So Martin Jones the start against Florida. Where I gotta go to the East. Who would the potential opponents be if we finish second? It's between Toronto, Tampa Bay, and the Florida Panthers. We just need to give Florida 2 points in this head-to-head. We're gonna sim past it. If they get the 2 points, they do. If they don't, then they don't. Sukai Ming hitting 32 goals. No injuries. Hopefully LeBlanc comes back healthy for the playoffs. Do we give Florida a win, 2 points in the standings? We do. We give Florida 2 points in the standings. Holy crap. Starting Martin Jones was a great call. Does that catapult Florida? Oh no, Toronto got 96. We're going to play the Leafs. We're really going to play the Leafs in the playoffs. Unless Florida has an extra game. And if that was not Florida's season finale, and it was Florida's season finale, as we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, this is just great. How many times are we going to play Toronto in the playoffs? I wanted a new opponent in the first round here in season 11, but we've made it. We've made the playoffs, and I need to save the game. Here you go, the all-important playoff tree for season 11. We will get the winner of Ottawa and Florida should we advance, defeating the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Now, the last time we played the Maple Leafs, it was a hard-fought series that went 7, and I had to grind. I had to earn it against the Maple Leafs. This is just all the teams that made it, so it'll be Ottawa, Florida, Montreal, Toronto, New Jersey, and Tampa, Islanders, and Carolina. In the West, St. Louis, Nashville, Winnipeg, Anaheim, LA, Vancouver, Phoenix, and Calgary. Can Johnny Gaudreau and the Flames get over the hump against this seemingly dominant Phoenix team every single year? This Coyotes team, they never fail to meet expectations every single season. Carried by Loic Arnaud and Laurent Dauphin, no doubt. I'm curious who the goaltender is there in net in Phoenix. We've looked at it before. PK Subban with LA in his first season as a King after the off-season trade is back in the playoffs, but he's on the west side of the bracket playing the Vancouver Canucks, who have Connor McDavid. McDavid has failed to get it done with the Canucks. There was a year where they got knocked out and they played hard, but McDavid was injured to start that series a couple of seasons ago. Winnipeg, Anaheim, St. Louis, Nashville, nothing to really note about any of these teams. Really wanted Philly to make the playoffs because they have my created goalie on their team, but they finished down at the bottom of the Metropolitan Division. Carey Price with the Rangers signed that contract in the offseason. The Rangers fall out of playoff contention this season. I'm going to go back this way because I believe the Rangers, can we see it from here? You know what? We'll go look at it from here. Team standings sorted by points. The Coyotes take home, I don't know how many President's Trophies they've won in the GM mode, but they win yet another. They take home the season 11 President's Trophy. Winnipeg just a few points behind Phoenix this year. Ottawa, Los Angeles, Montreal. I figured Los Angeles was going to be good because I looked at their team, their overall rating of the core of their roster, and then the addition of PK Subban. This LA team looks like they're practically going to be unstoppable this season We'll look at all the goals for stats and see who had the best goals for percentage, goals for per game percentage, goals against per game percentage, that kind of stuff. We'll look at it in a second. Montreal, then Vancouver, St. Louis, Nashville, New Jersey, Anaheim, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Florida, Calgary, Islanders, Carolina, and then Edmonton just outside looking in. They won the Cup a couple of seasons ago. Minnesota outside looking in. Columbus outside looking in. San Jose, Detroit, Colorado, Buffalo, Boston, Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Rangers. The Dallas Stars were the worst team in the league for a long, long period of time, and somehow the Rangers fall to the bottom. I gotta go look at Carey Price's stats at some point. We're gonna look at all the stats for the individual players as well, but the goals for per game. You know what? We had one of the best offenses in the league, just behind the Winnipeg Jets. We scored 3.09 goals for per game. Unbelievable year offensively with this team. I can't wait to look at the individual stats for my players. So just going down the list here, and who had the worst goals for per game? The Rangers? The Rangers. They had the worst goals. They were barely scoring 2 goals per game. Holy crap. I would love to see the scores of all the games the Rangers participated in this season. The goals against per game, we had a relatively, Winnipeg had the best goals for and goals against per game in the league. We were right there, though. We finished as the 7th best team on goals against per game. We gave up 2.49 goals per game. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. It's like I said, it's top 10 in the NHL. The Rangers and the Stars finished way at the bottom. So the Rangers with just an abysmal season, barely scoring any goals, couldn't keep the puck out of the back of the net. Carey Price, I just could tell. He's past his prime, he's washed, and it was the right time to move on. Our power play was a top 5 power play in the league. I like to see that. Then we take a look at the power play early in the season, and it wasn't really an issue with my team. Obviously, the Rangers struggling on the power play in the regular season. The penalty kill for our team, we didn't have a great penalty kill in terms of league-wide. We finished with an 82.6% on the kill. That needs to be closer to 85. It was in the bottom third of the NHL on penalty kill percentage. The best PK in the league, Edmonton, 87%, and they did not make the playoffs with an 87.7% penalty kill. Remember, I believe they were the last team outside, the first team outside looking in, if that makes sense. The first team to look outside the playoff picture. Dallas with an abysmal 75.1% penalty kill percentage. And the final tally on the regular season, sorted by points. We'll take a look at the goals, and I believe Su Kai-Ming was your leading goal scorer on the Canadiens. So Matt Duchene entering his age 32-33 season. I don't know at what point in the year he would have turned 33. He has 1 year left, so 1 more year on his deal. We got things to discuss with Matt Duchene, I guess, in the offseason. 81 games played this year, 19 goals. Quite the drop-off for Duchene. Didn't even hit 20 goals this year. 68 points. I mean, I just expect more from Duchene. But the key is he was not in the negative. He had a plus 13, plus minus. This is his playoff stats from the previous appearances. Just 5 games played because we got bounced in round 1 against the Boston Bruins, but he had 2 goals and 4 points in those 5 games. Matt Duchene did. Su Kai-Ming with still 4 more years remaining at 5.130, age 28 player, and his production this year, the best maybe of his career. I don't think he's ever hit 30 goals. If he has, it escapes my mind. If he's hit 30 goals, 63 points, great production out of Su Kai-Ming, playing at my second line center position. Oh, and the playoff stats from the past 3 appearances in the playoffs. 4 points, 1 goal in 5 games a season ago. Max Pacioretty, age 35 season, very close to being on the way out the door in terms of just his last days as a Hab. I think at age 35, I think we try to play this contract out. Hopefully he just retires as a Canadian. If we win the Cup, it would be great if he would just go ahead and retire on a high note. He scores 29 goals this year, 55 points, so an improvement in goal scoring from Pacioretty in 77 games played. Just 1 point in the playoffs last year in that round 1 loss to the Boston Bruins. Ryan Kudrwinski, age 29 season, 2 years left on the deal. 75 games played, 28 goals, 55 points, plus 21. These guys are keeping the puck out of the back of the net. And again, giving up goals was not an issue for this team this year. I was very proud to look at the stats and see how many goals we were scoring per game and how many we were giving up per game. Look at this. We almost had a 30-goal scorer in Niederreiter. This team, I mean, look at how many almost 30 goal scorers we had. Ming with 32, 29 for Pacioretty, 28 for Kudrwinski, 28 for Niederreiter. I mean, this team has some crazy ability to go off offensively. Victor Hedman hit 7 goals this year at age 33 with 1 year left on the deal. We got things to decide on Victor Hedman's future. He was a plus 33? Oh, man. Victor Hedman might win the Norris Trophy. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he'll win the Norris Trophy. But that is some crazy stats. I mean, 7 goals is pretty nice. Didn't quite hit double digits this year. He had 2 goals in the 5 games in that round 1 loss. Louis LeBlanc, age 33 season, 2 years left on the deal. He has an 11-goal, 38-point season. Pretty disappointing, but he did just play the 56 games and is still currently injured as we enter round 1 against the Maple Leafs. He will not be taking part in the first few games of the series. Damon Severson, age 29 season. And he's got 1 year left on the deal. So some of these guys are on similar timelines on their contracts. Severson, 69 games played, 6 goals, 35 points, plus 20 rating. I love that first. Yeah, well, much of my first D pair when we made the trade for Mark Stahl was Stahl with Hedman. That might be a great D pair going into the playoffs. And you've got Charles Bertrand, who was basically a depth signing to be a healthy extra. I kept him in the lineup. He played 60 games and scored 15 goals, 33 points with a plus 20. What kind of team did I assemble here? I mean, this guy, look at his defense attributes. No wonder he was a plus 20. This is a great pick. A sniper that can defend is a brilliant addition to the team. Teuvo Teravainen, he spends his second straight season with the team. He signed to a 2-year deal in the offseason, and he scores 7 goals as a depth forward, 31 points, plus 8. Kept the puck out of the back of the net. So he basically matched his totals and bettered his point production from a season ago with his team. And in that 5 games, just 1 point in the 5 games from Teravainen. Monahan, age 29 season, 2 years left on the contract for my third-line center in Sean Monahan, 11 goals, 18 assists. Matched his goal output from a season ago, and he just had 2 points in the playoffs a season ago. Kamayev, age 30 season, 2 years left on that deal. 82 games played, 9 goals, 26 points. Lucas Voivoda, I would like to see more growth out of Voivoda. Just 79 overall rating. I gave him the 8-year deal. I mean, I got this super cheap deal out of Voivoda. Just signing him to the 8 years. He agreed on it, and very low value money. I mean, I'm getting great value on the dollar for what Voivoda might potentially be able to bring to the table with this team, but just 13 goals and 25 points. I mean, he is a grinder, but there's the attributes for you. He can easily put the puck in the net. He's just got to be able to do it, and I mean, he is stuck down there on the 4th line for right now, playing 4th line minutes. Mark Stahl, I don't know what the stats were because I have the stats from when Stahl joined the team. But we make the trade in the mid-season around January for Mark Stahl due to the huge injuries to my defense core. And Stahl, with 1 year left as a 37-year-old defenseman, actually comes in and he supplies some veteran experience on the first D pair playing with Hedman. Now, he was a -5 on the season. He scores 3 goals, 24 points in 80 games played. Did he play in the playoffs? Well, he has playoff experience from 22-23 with 4 games played. I'm going to guess that was with Dallas. Malte Stromwall with 2 years remaining on his deal. A depth piece, 8 goals as a depth piece on my bottom 6 and 24 points. I'm very happy with that. Polkinen didn't play a lot. I ended up scratching him as a healthy extra after I wanted to get Bertrand in there. He gets 8 goals, 23 points in 53 games. Tamernis injured a lot this season. I mean, this guy was banged up for pretty much the whole season and still contributed 5 goals, 20 points in 36 games. Bigris injured a bit too this season. 1 goal and 16 points. By the way, I didn't pull up Tamernis's stats from the playoffs. He had 1 goal in those 5 games. Bigris stats from the playoffs. 5 games played, 1 point. What did Polkinen do in the playoffs last year? 3 points, and Schromo in the playoffs last year, no points. Maximilian Weiss. I think he had a goal in the playoffs last season. I signed him to a 2-year deal. 3-year deal. 3-year deal, 4 goals, 13 points from the blue line. The 6'9", 245 defenseman out of Germany. My created defenseman for the draft class. Yeah, he scored a goal in the playoffs. Wait a minute. Was that NHL or... Yeah. Okay. Whoever he was playing for, he played in 3 games before we added him for the 22-23 postseason. Then Derek Brassard, who Derek Brassard should be in the AHL, but I acquired Derek Brassard off waivers and will be calling him up for the playoffs as soon as I can get Louis LeBlanc healthy. I will send down, I guess I could just go ahead and call him up for the first game of the playoffs and just get him in the lineup with the injured LeBlanc, because Tierney is playing in LeBlanc's spot. I had a lot of players play for this team this year. Shas Livy, the defenseman out of Denmark, it was signed in free agency just to be a 7th D, a healthy extra, and that's pretty much exactly what he was. He played a lot of games this year, 52 of them, in fact, 3 goals. Tierney is playing, again, this guy, a call-up from the AHL due to, you can see the AHL games he's played this year, but he's called up just because of injuries. That's why he's gotten into NHL action with my team, is because of injury. Larry Ronning, this is the defenseman acquired in the trade from LA for PK Subban. I've gone over that multiple times, but just for those of you who don't know or don't remember, we traded PK Subban to LA and got back this young defenseman in exchange for it to help keep our team competitive for the future. Now, he did play with LA in 5 games, and he didn't record a single point in those 5 games. He got 1 goal and 9 points in his first season with the Canadiens. Wyrick, again, another guy that I keep around as a depth option from the A as a call-up in case of injury. So there's the stats for Wyrick. Russell Glencross, this is my defenseman. When did I draft Russell? 2nd-round pick in 2016. And it's taken him a long time to reach 76 overall, but I gave him some NHL action. He played 2 games and he had 2 points. And he was a +1 rating in 2 games, getting into his first ever games in the NHL. There you go. You can see his career info in the NHL. So we actually gave Russell Glencross a look on the blue line for a few games. Ryan Murphy, did it just say 5 games played for Murphy? Yeah, he didn't play that many games this year in the NHL. Again, another depth defenseman that is primarily getting AHL time, but I called him up in case of injury. He's had some success with our team in the playoffs in the past. And then Himmelfarb. Himmelfarb got into a game? Or was that because he played for a different team? Remember, the Rangers, I think, put him on waivers. So the story with Himmelfarb, the Rangers had him as a restricted free agent. I offer sheeted Himmelfarb a couple of off seasons ago, and the Rangers matched it. They sent him on waivers during this Season 11 simulation. I claim him off waivers for free, and he's down in the AHL. Not really that he's much of a player, but I thought it would be fun to send him an offer sheet. He's a former 1st-round pick, 14th overall by the Rangers, and there's a little bit of potential on this 25-year-old. So that is all of the skaters on my team. And the goaltenders, Zach Fucale plays 64 games, 2.28. I mean, I told you this guy was the future in net, and he puts together a very reasonable and respectable season with the Canadiens in his second full season as the number 1 goaltender, not his first full season as the number 1 goaltender. Remember, he took over the goal crease from Carey Price a season ago. Martin Jones giving some relief in the backup position. He plays 22 games, and his numbers were not really all that great or incredible for Martin Jones in the net. All right, Carey Price, how did it go, Price, in net? He played 43 games with the Rangers. They had an abysmal year. He had a 3.02 GAA. His save percentage was a 90.90. Is that better than what he did the year before with us? So he played 34 games for us before that. And he won 16 games, a 3.03 GAA. So very similar numbers, actually, for Carey Price in the last 2 seasons. 22-23 spent with the Canadiens, 23-24 with the Rangers. I was kind of hoping that Carey Price, I should have jumped into a game to see Carey Price in Rangers gear, but it just would look wrong. It was a 3-year deal. Do you think Price retires in the offseason? He's down to did I see an 81 overall? Yep, Carey Price is an 81 overall. He is on the downward spiral. It was the right move to dump Carey Price to free agency. Okay, LA, what kind of year? Let me look at your production from your players. Toffoli, 64 points, just going to go down the list here. This is a stacked Los Angeles Kings team. I wanted to see what PK Subban did. 74 games played, 23 points, 2 goals. That's it. That's all he did offensively. But was he and that's my contract that I signed him to, that 2-year, $6.675 million deal. He was a +4. I mean, I guess it worked out for PK Subban and the LA Kings. They're in the playoffs, and they had a very good season in the Pacific Division. Philadelphia, they have Phil Kessel, Giroux, Voracek, Kempe. Very interesting team that they have here. Wayne Simmons hasn't retired yet as well. So that's the Philadelphia Flyers. They did not make the playoffs, but I'm curious about Noah Yosin. What kind of season are we talking about here? So Beaverson gets into 5 games. Yosin plays 54, 2.40 GAA. 21 wins, 23 losses, and a 92. How in the world do you have almost a 93 save percentage, 2.40 GAA, and lose games the way that Noah Yosin did? 94 overall player, and he's an upcoming unrestricted free agent. That's something to pay attention to. I would give him the farm to sign. I would give up the farm to sign this kid. And I would dump Fucale to sign this kid, but there's no way Philly lets this guy find the free agent market. His save percentage comes down a touch, but I mean, it's not him. It's the Flyers. The Flyers have got to give this guy a team to play behind. Phoenix, it's Brendan Burke in net and Vizentine. That's what I was wondering about who the goaltenders were. I thought it was Burke, and I am correct that it is Burke. The team in front of Brendan Burke, putting together a 104-point season. Loic Arnaud has totally arrived in the GM mode at age 28. I mean, he is fully as good as I think he'll ever be in the GM mode. I mean, he's making $10.7 million. He has a maxed out puck skills, maxed out shooting category. This kid is unreal. He's right there with McDavid. I mean, he is right there with McDavid every season. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he saw a jump from the previous year. 82 games played, 104-point season, 42 goals scored. This kid is the real freaking deal. Domi with an 83-point year. I mean, that first line's got to be Arnaud, Domi, and Kane. Kane, 26 goals, 79 points. Dauphin, 28.76 season. When did Dauphin have that 100-point season? It was, if you go back, it was this year, then 3 years ago, if you want to look at it that way. 52-goal, 108-point season was unreal. The Coyotes won the President's Trophy that year as well. DeLuca, 26 goals, 58 points. My brain is really melting going through all of these stats already. So there's the entire lineup for the Phoenix Coyotes. McDavid in Vancouver, not quite a 100-point season. Has McDavid hit a 100-point season yet? I don't think he's quite gotten there, but he played an AHL game? Why did he play an AHL game? It was a what do you call it? A conditioning stint. So McDavid, why did he play an AHL game? He played all 82 games and an AHL game. What the hell, Vancouver? Okay. That's kind of random. He scored a goal in that game, of course, 96 points and a 43-goal season. So he matched his goals production this season in the 23-24 season. And the playoff stats, 7 games played and 8 points, 3 goals in 7 games. Not too bad for McDavid. I mean, the potential for the Canucks and McDavid is there, and he has an expiring contract this summer as well, making $11.3 million. All right, Axel Arneson is kind of coming along a little bit. He's kind of on a similar level as Tamernis. He's 27 years young, 84 overall defenseman, hitting free agency as well in the summer. All these guys hitting free agency, I'm going to have to remember, 48 games played, injured a lot. So he was injured a lot, and yet he scored 7 goals and 23 points. Imagine what he could have done if he played in all 82 games for the Canucks. He didn't score a point last year in the playoffs. Oh, Brad Marchand, what kind of season did you have? Brad Marchand, second season in a row in Pittsburgh, hitting the free agent market now. Pittsburgh signed him in free agency. That's what it was. We let him go, and he spent these 2 seasons here in Pittsburgh. Both times played 81 games for the Penguins. 38 points a season ago, 20 goals, 41 points, and 13 goals playing on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they did not qualify for the playoffs. There's what Marchand did in the playoffs for the Canadiens. these 2 seasons that are listed here. Sidney Crosby, age 36 season, getting closer and closer to the end of the road for Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, making $8.7 million. He's got a 56-point season, 19 goals, so pretty disappointing from Sid. He also played an AHL game there as well, like McDavid did. So something was going on that season where these superstars were playing in the AHL. Unfortunately, Crosby rarely making appearances in the playoffs with the Penguins in this GM mode. Caleb Johnson checking in on another created player of mine. He has 2 years left, drafted by New Jersey, found his way over to San Jose in some form or some fashion. 33 goal year, 68 points, -4 rating. How old is he? 28 years old. So Johnson with a improvement in goal scoring this year, that might be a career best as well. 33 goals might be a career best in points and goals for Caleb Johnson in the NHL. And in Tampa Bay, Kozak Nikitin, one of my created goalies that was for the draft class, but he was automatically placed on the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's kind of like the Vasilevsky for the Lightning, I guess, in this game, as he plays 45 games, 25 wins, 15 losses. For the Lightning, 2.44 GAA and a .925 save percentage, taking the Lightning into the playoffs. They have made the playoffs and will play the New Jersey Devils in the first round. Okay. Oh, yes! Rod Severson. This is the guy that Carolina, somehow Chicago let this guy fall to free agency, and Chicago drafted him first overall. Rod Severson, I took a look at him. Carolina signs him to a 2-year, an ELC level, minor league money at 21 years young. And this guy, what kind of year did he have? 2.45 and a .921. So that's basically what Zach Fucale just did for my team as the goaltender. But this guy is way younger than Fucale with so much room to grow. This was not a created player by me, but a player that was created by the game. When was he drafted? 2020. So this is a created player by the game mode that was drafted by Chicago first overall. Somehow Carolina snatches him up, you lucky dogs, in free agency. He is the Cam Ward replacement for the Carolina Hurricanes. They don't have Cam Ward anymore as he retired, but this is a more than serviceable option in the net, backed up by Helbling. Wow, Dallas Stars. So what was the deal with Dallas? They eventually get a goaltender that's an 81 overall. But Dallas, they were running with these 2 goaltenders, Curtis Booze and Brizgalov. You would need some booze to get through these Dallas Stars games in the regular season. A 63 overall netminder playing 45 games. And then Vitaly Brizgalov, a 61 overall goaltender. You can see the GAA for yourself. That tells the whole story for you there, as well as the save percentage. My goodness, what an abysmal season for the Dallas Stars. I'm sure Mark Stahl was thrilled to get traded off of this Dallas Stars team to the Canadiens. Okay, Calgary, how did Gaudreau do? Johnny Gaudreau, 79-point season, 28 goals, and 77 games played. He turned 30 here in the GM mode, 3 years left on that contract. How does that compare to seasons past? A bit of a dip for Johnny Gaudreau this year, but he focused on his defensive game. He was a +20 in the plus-minus rating. Carries the Flames to a playoff appearance. They haven't done enough in the postseason. They had 17 games played that one year. They went on a run, and they did not make the final because I believe... Who made the final that year? The 2020-2021 final. Who was the team... Was it Nashville? Did Nashville take out? I can't remember who it was. And your NHL leaders, so the Art Ross is obviously going to go to Loic Arnaud of the Phoenix Coyotes. His first Art Ross trophy. We have a created player by myself winning a trophy in the GM mode. And I'll just sort it. I'll just go down by points. Sorted by points will show you everyone and what they accomplished this season, where they finished in point scoring. I'm only going to scroll so far. There's the first overall pick by the Red Wings again in 2019, created by the game, Alexander Tursunbayev. He finishes up there in goal scoring, and Caleb Johnson is up there in point scoring, goal scoring, point scoring, etc. There's Matt Duchene. He's on this list. And that'll just about do it. I'm not going to scroll much further than this. Su Kai Ming is in the mix, though. And there you go. Jonathan Drouin's going to win the Maurice Richard Trophy, taking it pretty handily with almost a 50-goal season. And actually a comparison for how Drouin's past 4 seasons have gone. 49 goals, 40, 36, and 48 with a 92-point season this year as opposed to the 94, 69 in 64 games, and 99 points in 80 games played. He is just an unreal player in this GM mode. He sims really, really well for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And we'll scroll down the list as well to show you the top goal scorers in the league. I'm just going to scroll so far before I cut it out of the video.